Howdy folks, Doc Reese back again, this time with another tractor project. This would be MD number 3. Got this from the same gentleman I got the G from. Relatively cheap, so that's why I'm putting some effort into it. And you can see I pretty well got it stripped down. Didn't really get a good starter video on this. I brought it in right after New Year's and it had been cold for a long spell up here in North Dakota. It was a good 25 to 40 below for about 2 months straight. I think we saw maybe 1 or 2 days above zero, and I don't think we saw any days above freezing for 3 months, 3.5 months, something like that. So I didn't spend a whole lot of time out here in the shop during that time. Just by the time I kicked the heater on and it started to get warm, either the tractor would start sweating from the temperature difference, or it just took hours for the shop to warm up so it was comfortable in here to work, that you could actually hold on to the tools and not freeze to your hands. But the story on this one was that the bolster, which is behind me, was cracked. I can't see it too well, but it's cracked right there. So the previous owner, from my understanding, I guess had a loader on it, but they had cobbled up a bunch of brackets that went around the frame to the other frame and to hold it together. I'll have to see if I can hunt up a picture of it. But I also got a parts tractor with this thrown in, and the parts tractor had a good bolster and a bunch of other good parts. This one, the steering, I had a miserable time getting it apart because this, for the steering, is not aligned. This is all welded up. This bracket itself on the back side is all welded up. So I robbed all this off the parts one, and that's why I have it stripped down so far. So when I put it back together, it'll be fresh, hopefully. It does have mismatched tires, mismatched size and tread pattern, but for a couple $100 you really can't complain. This engine is pretty tired, so I haven't put a lot of money into it just because I know what it's going to take to get it going again. But I can take the fan here and turn the engine over relatively easy. I don't want to turn it too much because I have everything out right now. So this engine's pretty tired, but despite that, it was leaking diesel into the crankcase as well. So I pulled the injection pump out, went through the injection pump. I got to put the primary pump back on it, but that's all done. It's ready to go back on as soon as I get my water jacket covers in here. I actually just made gaskets for it last night, so I just got to put them on, get that bolted down, and I can start throwing everything back on the side. Other than that, I don't know really a whole lot about it. Everything seems fairly tight on it, so I'm hoping it doesn't need much more than that. But then again, it is an MD, so we'll see how far I can get before it requires something else. I don't know what else really there is to note on this. Pretty standard setup for an MD. Have all the parts actually sitting in that box right there that I need to put it back together. One thing interesting to note is that these pieces of angle iron here, oh you hush, these pieces of angle iron here are from a launch facility from a missile site. It is not every day that you get to split a tractor using iron recovered from a missile launch site. So it's pretty unique. I got the new used bolster here. And when I drove, not this shaft, the other shaft out of it, it was actually stuck fast to the bushing up inside here. And it was miserable to get out. But once I got it out, I got the bushing drove off, I got everything cleaned up, got it put back in there, and actually going to use the other shaft because I ruined wherever it is. Oh, it's over here. I ruined it with the sledgehammer getting it out just because it was that tight. But it isn't the first one I've done like that because it wouldn't come out. So this is ready to go back together. I actually just bought the castle nut for the top to tighten it up on this end, so it'll go back together here maybe this week. Getting ready to take a road trip this weekend. Don't know how much I'm going to get done before then. I rebuilt the thrust bearing as well because I didn't want to spend all the money on the steering kit. So I went through this one, cleaned it all up. It just needs greased. thrown in, and I think it'll be alright for all the more I use this tractor for. With how worn out it is, it's not going to be a real workhorse. And do know it needs brakes. The brakes are pretty well shot, but you only need to stop if you get it to go. So I haven't got it to go yet, so I'm not too worried about stopping. I think that's about all I got to note for now. More updates to come, and hopefully here in several weeks, maybe I can have it running again. We shall see. Thanks for watching.